white and I only date white people. I want my kids to look like me. Yeah, that's...
I want my kids to look like me. I mean, I do want my kids to look like me too. Only because I don't want my wife another guy, you know what I mean? But even if I had a black wife, my kids would still look like me. I mean, I look more like my mother's side than my father's side, thankfully. But yeah.
That's messed up. That's bizarre, and it's a little bit weird.
It's probably a kid. I fucking hate this conversation. I hate this conversation because the conversation about preference is so weird and it's so backwards, right? So most people in real life, this is how it works. Okay, I don't even know how I'm going to draw this. Most people have like a preference, right? You have a preference. Here's your preference, right? We say, oh, we just make it a P. This is your preference. We all have a preference, okay? When it comes to any physical interaction, let's say like you have a preference. Let's say you interact with a person. Let's say that person is white. Let's just say whatever. You got a white, you got a black person, and then you got an Italian person. Right? You might gravitate towards people who are white because you find them more attractive. You might gravitate towards somebody. You may not gravitate to, well, fuck Italians. Nobody likes Italians because they're disgusting animals. But you may not gravitate towards black people, and that's okay. It gets into a really weird conversation though when you say when your preference goes from I like white people to I don't like X other group of people. That's when things get a little sussy. Now, you might be saying you don't like black people in a preference context because you just know that you tend to gravitate towards white people. That's fine. Or you might be saying you don't like black people because you might be racist. The problem is you can't really 100% come to the conclusion of like what your feelings behind your preferences are. And that's the big problem. You could speculate that somebody who's not attracted to black people hates black people, or maybe they're just not attracted to them. A lot of people tend to like stick to their own in any group. People tend to like stick to what's more comfortable for them. So like if you grew up in a predominantly white or black area, you might like predominantly white or black people. If you grew up in like a more mixed area, you might have more, like I have a wider preference variety because I grew up in like a pretty mixed area. It's about like your comfortability. But it's kind of impossible to discern what the reason is for your attractions. So you're better off not saying it. The best way is like don't be disrespectful about it. You know what I'm saying? Like this person says I'm all white and only date white. I mean, I don't know. It gives me a red flag. It gives me a red flag. Now, does that mean they're racist? Maybe not. Probably means they're a dumb young kid that wants to they want to introduce the argument about like preference. It gets annoying, but
we see that there's some science behind sometimes looking for similarities between you and your partner, but saying I only date white people because
yeah, like the biggest similarity I like between my partner and me is we have the last name. That's hot. You know what I'm saying? It's like a real life kink.
I want white kids is actually borderline, well, neo-Nazism.
Well, I don't know if I'd call it neo-Nazism. Although it is weird. If you say, like, I want white kids, that is... I actually think that might be... Yeah, I think that might be racist. It's so weird. I have to, like, explore it. But it's weird that, like, I want white kids. Because, like, if you... Yeah, based, yeah. You wanting to marry, like, a white person is, I think, different from, like, I want white kids. Like... I feel like wanting white kids is like I'm only going to date a white person to have a white kid because I don't want any more black babies. You know what I mean? So I would say that like if this is one of those things, like I would say that yeah, saying you want white kids, that I think that's racist. I think that's racist. Yeah, I say that that's racist because like why you could like we're at a point now where you're fetishizing the birth of the baby. That's important to you. My baby needs to be white. Right? That's the problem. So yeah, I'd say that's racist. It's hard to communicate that though in 15 seconds. I might send this to myself. Because there's a difference between there's a difference between saying like, hey, I prefer white people versus saying I don't prefer black people and then continuing to say I want white babies. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and another special shout out to all my Patreon and Twitch subs. If you'd like to support this channel further than you already have by just watching the video alone, go down to the links below where you can sub on my Patreon, which will allow you to get your name on this beautiful black wall. Or you can go to the Twitch page and you can actually use a free Amazon Prime sub, if you have Amazon Prime, to subscribe. Thank you very much, guys. Take care.